whānau, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the 1111 portal gateway. I received a transmission this morning around that, and I've been working very strongly with the goddess, so she's really supporting me to bring through these different elements that are coming through my own portal. So first of all, I just wanted to clarify that this is the 1111 gateway that we're talking about. And for me personally, I've gone through a massive death process recently, and a while back I had realized that I was actually really afraid of dying. And I realized also that I think a lot of people are. So it's not just me, it's many people. Dying is something that we're not really equipped to work with, as we are in this three-dimensional human existence. We are believing that it's something final and that's all there is. But once we recognize that we are eternal beings, that we are going to be a forever, that there is no death, that death is actually an illusion, then we come to full term of that. We actually realize that there is nothing separate from us, that we are part of this huge cycle of existence, which is an eternal cycle, that we're never going to stop existing, that we are, will be, and shall ever be. So there is no end. And that's exciting. That's like a really exciting part to the story, right? So I just wanted to share a little bit about my transmission. It actually is, right now, we're in a timeline convergence, and I'm sure everybody's heard about the timeline split that happened, and yeah, there's 3D, 5D reality. So we are stepping into a whole other way of being and existing on the planet, which is so connected to the love field, the love vibration, and it's a very unified field. So there is no separation within it. And that is the understanding where I'm coming from as well. So having lived a fourth dimensional lifestyle for a very long time now, and having fully awakened probably around 10 years ago, I'm now in the process of exponential development, I guess you could say. And there's been a lot of death processes within that. So having recently experienced quite a deep transformation through the work that I do, and recognizing that, yeah, this is the real deal, man. This is what we've been working towards for a long time, but it's actually showing up in the physical world as well, in our dimensional field, because we need to see it and witness it and know what it is that we're dealing with. And so we are talking about really coming into the safe place of the heart. Now, the heart is actually the only safe place to be right now. Being in the head is not okay. There are actually multiple technologies that are basically putting brain waves and sound waves, sound frequencies into the unified field, and it's bombarding us with technologies that have been weaponized. So, you know, Wi-Fi technology is a weaponized technology. You know, the frequency band waves of the radiation that we're getting from electricity and all the satellites that are out there, 5G technology, all of that's all been weaponized. So the interference that's happening within us is giving us messages that are repetitive, that get us stuck in cycles, and they're causing a lot of mental health issues on the planet right now. People are losing their minds, and particularly those that have been addicted to substances, and perhaps are addicted to alcohol, and any kind of addiction, really. Any kind of addiction is actually starting to really amp and ramp. So we've been invited now to go into the heart and drop into that place, that safe place, because it actually is an inside job. It can't be done with the exterior world as our stimuli. We cannot have validation from the outside world. This is the only safe place to be. And this is where we access our true power as well. It's not something that we need from anybody else. Being in relationship either, you know, like we need to be in relationship with self first before we can be in relationship with others. And then it becomes a choice. Then it becomes a co-creative potential that we can start working with, because that is the divine masculine, divine feminine coming into unification, so that they can actually birth all sorts of realities, possibilities, potentials, and even real babies if they choose. But this needs to be a conscious choice now. And this is the intention, that it's actually up to us, because we are so powerful, particularly now that we actually have been stepping into this fifth dimensional reality. So we are coming into both a vertical and horizontal timeline. So we're working vertically, which is a masculine energy, and that is very electric. That's like a supercharged energy that helps us to project outwards what our needs are and how we are going to be met in the world. So it's a very projective force that stems from us, and it's an outward force. So it's how we choose to be in the world, how we choose to present ourselves to the world. And that's also working with all of the angelic realms and the interdimensional realms that are not of this particular vibratory force here on Earth. So they're star beings, and we're talking about ascended masters, we're talking about the goddess energies that are very real and palpable in our lives. So that is the vertical alignment. We were also talking with about our ancestors. So accessing our ancestors, our tupuna, those that are really on the other side to support us in this physical realm, because this is one of the denser realms we can be in right now. And we chose to experience this at this time as well. So accepting full radical self-responsibility is actually really important right now. And knowing that we got to choose this because we just can, you know, because it's an exciting time to be alive right now on the planet. And we chose this a long time ago to come back, and it was part of an agreement to experience this timeline and to experience this convergence and this beautiful awakening that's happening, which is freaking kick ass. So yeah. Yeah, we can't blame anyone else for this, sorry. It's a good one. And with the horizontal timeline, the horizontal plane, we're talking about all other beings in existence. So we're talking about connecting to humanity and all of the kingdoms of the earth realm. We're also talking about a feminine energy, so it's a very attracting energy, it's magnetic, and we're working through the sacral portal of the womb, and which is, you know, also for men it's actually the hara, so it's the second chakra, and that is a very amazing, powerful energy because it is a portal as well, and we are drawing to us all experiences, all situations, all abundance, all beliefs that serve us right now. So attracting to us everything that we need in order to move to our next level of evolution. Yeah, so we get to choose this as well. And so when we can work both vertically and horizontally, we come into this cross, this unification that happens. You know, it's like we're working on both planes. We're working with this cross energy, which is pretty much what the crossing is all about. And this is what this timeline is about. It's about the crossing and the convergence of both vertical and horizontal timelines. And that's the exciting part of what we're experiencing right now. So going back to the divine feminine, divine masculine, we have actually got a sacred marriage that's happening, which is not outside of ourselves. Understanding that we are both feminine and masculine. And we are coming into unification of both our masculine side, which is very much connected to the right side of the body, and the feminine side, which is the left. And, you know, that's different traditions and religions will show us this as well. And there are some other ideas around that. So, you know, whatever works for you to understand it, really. And when we come into unification in this way, we are creating a sacred marriage and complete honoring of love for ourselves. And this can be done in multiple ways. I mean, it's really nice to signify this with a ritual. And some people choose to ritualize in different ways. Some express themselves in more tantric ways. So actually literally making love to oneself. And, you know, Kate Pai, whatever works for you to really bring into unification your divine masculine and feminine. And, you know, like, this is for both men and women. It's not just for women. It's really accessing the divinity of yourself, of your wholeness, and coming into completion. So you've done a full cycle of releasing all the fears around death. You're releasing your wounds, although they are still sort of playing out to a certain degree, because we are coming through the last fragments of our karmic patterns that are being released from our DNA right now. And we do this, you know, through deep probing, sacred probing and sacred ritual work that helps us to purge this material, this density that's actually held in our cells and stored here. But the more we release, the more we free up ourselves. And I mean, a lot of this can be done through releasing the need for density. Yeah, so for me personally, I just wanted to share an experience that has worked for me. So I had a lot of stuff stored in my emotional body, and more recently with this work, you know, this kick-ass work that's been going on through Kahara and Medicines of Mu, actually, I have given myself permission to release all the emotional energy from my cells, which was all around not wanting to be seen. It was all around protection. So dissolving whatever needed to be protected, you know. And why did I need protecting? So my cells released that, and I was able to shed my weight, you know. And it's still releasing, aspects of it are still releasing, but within the last 6 months I've lost 10 kilograms because I've let go of the emotional density that was being stored in my cellular memory. And oh my gosh, I just feel so free. I feel so much lighter. I feel more supercharged. And you know, having a, you know, vegetarian / vegan diet has really helped with it, although I do have the very occasional bit of fish as well. So I'm kind of more like a flexitarian than anything else. But you know, I go through phases of being vegan, vegetarian, and then another phase which will be just a tiny bit of fish every now and again. So we're talking maybe once a fortnight I'll have a little piece of fish. And I do that because my body actually desires it. You know, I'm listening to my body as well. So this is all part of us listening to our bodies and working with body intelligence. What does your body tell you right now? And it's also probably, you know, quite strongly in my lineage too, being an O blood group. So without getting too much into that side of it, I really want to focus this kōrero about what's happening cosmically right now, and just the, you know, the convergence of those timelines. Also, going back to the timeline convergence, we're talking about shadow and light. So most of us only want to know, you know, the good stuff that's going on, you know, the light, feeling really empowered and wonderful and creative, and it's all just magic and beautiful and rainbows and unicorns. And, you know, although I really like rainbows and unicorns, and I'm definitely part of a rainbow tribe, and I know that the unicorn very much exists, you know, it's a mythical being, but it's a magical being that is an interdimensional being as well. So just knowing that shadow work's actually a key part of breaking open the portal door. So if you're not prepared, people aren't prepared to do the shadow work, then they won't get the riches that is promised for, yeah, the releasing that needs to take place. The shadow work is, you know, like the emotional body I was just sharing with you around, that is has only been achieved because of the shadow work that I've done, and getting rid of all programs, beliefs, which can be really deep, you know, like we're talking about childhood stuff as well. Working with inner child is really important. And actually, sorry, I meant to say too about the sacred marriage, the Hieros Gamos, which is the divine marriage between feminine and masculine. Once it fully takes place, then after you birth these possibilities, you then get to birth your own divine child. Now, your own divine child is that inner child that needs to be seen, needs to be loved, needs to be played with, you know, so it really brings lightness in your life like you've never had before. And it's like, yay, she's out, she's coming out to play, whip whip, you know, let's have some fun here. Let's do some cool stuff together. And maybe it does mean that you need to play more with the unicorns or the dragons, or, you know, start to really appreciate the world in a different way through the eyes of a child, through innocence. And that is actually one of the key tricks to really honoring her or him, you know, the divine child that you're birthing through this divine marriage that takes place, through the Hieros Gamos. And that's the unification that is going to happen once you reach that point in time, that space and time. And the shadow and the light is slightly different in that it actually offers you the embracing of both all of your wounds. You know, it's really good to accept who you are and all of your weaknesses and all of your vulnerabilities, and seeing them for who they are and witnessing them, because it's all just an illusion anyway. You know, it's all just part of this movie screen that you've played out in your life, and it actually is charged with emotion, you know, like it's been anchored with emotions, so not which has actually served you right now, you know, like perhaps it's been a protection for you. So it's time for you to witness that and see it for what it really is, and then release it, and know that it's there always as part of who you are, but it doesn't have to have power over you anymore. So you get to see it in a different way, and then seeing your light as well, seeing all of who you are in your fullness. And I'll tell you, once that happens, once you actually start embracing your shadow and your light and bring them together in this merge, it's just so powerful. You will find your power. I have found my power through this as well. So there's been lots of different things that are happening, so on so many different levels, and I'll recap that shortly. But yeah, the power of that exercise, just embodying that, will see literally the rebirth of oneself, of the shadow, which is, you know, actually the dragon and the snake is seen as quite shadow energies. It's only because it hasn't been seen. It's only because it's been hidden, you know. And the dragon and the snake energies are here to serve us. They're not here to diminish us and, you know, tell us untruths. It's a truth sayer. It's a truth speaker. And it works through our energy systems coming up the body. You know, this is the Kundalini and the Shakti energy we're talking about that helps to awaken us up. Comes through and it cycles through, and it starts off as a snake, and it winds itself up our bodies, and it activates every chakra, and then it comes up out through our crown, and then it becomes the dragon, and it can start flying freely in the world and doing some pretty kick-ass stuff. This is how multidimensional we are, and I just wanted to share that. So this is part of the Priestess of Mu training, and this is part of the Medicine of Mu teachings as well. It's all about the dragon energy and how powerful that is. And then we get to choose what we burn etherically in the world, you know, like burning the illusions, burning old systems that don't serve us anymore, because we are coming into a new sovereign way of being and operating as Tribe 5 on this planet. And I just quickly wanted to mention about the different tribes. So yeah, so there's been a few different kōrero around this. You know, we're talking about dimensions, but we're also talking about tribes. So tribe 1 is people who are from gangs, and they have had a lot of turbulence in their life. They are really just there to survive. They will do anything within their means to survive. And, you know, they would kill to survive. So they don't really have much regard for anybody else in the world. Tribe 2 are people who are just like sheeple. They have no natural thinking themselves. They just, you know, enslaved to the world. They do, but like people who are in like the factories in China, who just do as they're told. They're not allowed to think for themselves, or they choose not to. And yeah, there's no hope. There's a hopelessness around them. Tribe 3 is what our world is set up for. So we're taught to compete with one another, to work against nature. We're not in cooperation with nature. It's an attitude or a belief that I'm okay, but you're not. And that just puts immediately the differentiation and the separation and the duality, which is what our system's all geared up for. And we're here to, you know, rape nature, and we're not really here to support anything. It's just feather our own nest and fuck everybody else. And then we have tribe 4, who are change makers. They're the ones that say to the world, I'm really good and you're good too. So it has a belief that everybody has actually got a place in the world, and everybody's here to talk and support one another, and they are here to celebrate life. They do things differently. They celebrate when things go well regularly. You know, they are ones to have a belief system. They've got core beliefs. Normally there's a bit of a theme around their core beliefs. Perhaps it's people that like to celebrate creativity, or perhaps it's people who like to be a little bit different in life, and that's really cool. And then there's tribe 5, who have a belief that everything is awesome. The whole universe is awesome, and they not only are the change makers, but they help to be the way showers and the implementers of change. So usually they have something really innovative. They are channelers often. You know, they're people who receive transmissions and have a really strong message to share to the world, to wake people up. So that is tribe 5, and that ladies and gentlemen, is where I believe I sit. And that is the tribe that I belong to, and that is the tribe that I'm attracting and magnetizing into my life. So, yay. So there's a few different things also around the game changers. So they're edge walkers and people who are daring to be a little bit different, you know, that are going to probably cause a few ripples for people who aren't ready to receive the messages on whatever level, but you know, they are prepared to be shot down by that as well. And so yeah, there's all this stuff that there's all these different beliefs and attitudes around the 3D 5D stuff as well, so they correlate to a certain degree. And the idea is to turn chaos and confusion into stillness, peace, and love, and recognize that we are completely in this oneness field of consciousness, and we're all in it together because we're all aspects of one another. You know, anything that happens outside of us is also a reflection of what's happening on the inside of us. So inside, outside's another whole concept, you know, that we need to really start to work with as well. So the world is whatever is playing out in the outside world, in our own personal lives. It's a really good time then to reflect on what's happening for us on our inside world, because we created it. You know, this is part of us accepting radical self-responsibility. We create everything. We are creator gods and goddesses. So we not only got to choose this, but we actually got to create it. And all of its flaws and all of its beauty, whatever's being played out in our lives right now, we created it. And yeah, we've just got to really then start to own it, you know, own our part of the story, own our part of our story, because it's all part of the manifestation of who we are, and remembering that we are these amazing, powerful beings that are part of God consciousness. But we just got to forget. We forgot who we were. We forgot our magic. And it's not about us always remembering the past either, you know, and remembering that we, you know, we forgot to remember from the past, and therefore it's, you know, we were so much better back then. Well, not at all. No, we actually need to start owning ourselves and our full embodiment of who we are in this moment. And in every moment, it's always been about presence. It's always been about us remembering, calling back the severed parts of ourselves, remembering what's happening in the now, which is in full presence, because that's all that matters, is the now. And yeah, we need to validate who we are. We need to start mining on the inside. It's not an outside job anymore. We don't need the outside world for validation, although it's quite nice listening to what's happening cosmically and all of that, you know, like I'm always listening to the astrological details of what's going on, and you do get some really awesome channels that are happening. But now we need to start going internally. The mining needs to happen inside of ourselves. It's there that we're going to find the gold. It's not out there. It's not in the world. And if we do find it out in the world, then we need to implement it and affect it internally, so that it can become part of who we are. And yeah, we are pure consciousness. That is all we are. That is, I mean, it's not all we are, because it's pretty kick-ass, isn't it? Like, it's so expansive. We are just so amazing. We are divine beings having this human experience in this moment. And it allows us to fully embrace who we really are and our wildest potential. And so bring on new earth, I say. The power is here within us, and we get to choose this. And I am part of you, you are part of me. We get to fully understand and fully embody that huge expansive concept that of who we are. So I hope to leave you all with that little bit of information and that transmission, and it feels like it's very timely, so that we can actually really start to fully go through this death process in a profound way, so that we can come into full cohesion and rebirth ourselves as the cosmic egg that we were promised, and we promised ourselves eons ago. So yeah, we get to do this now, which is really beautiful. Have a wonderful 11/11 doorway, dimensional doorway day, and blessings to you all. Ka kite anō.